All right, here we go. Synthesis League, doing an overview of my League starter build, which the current plan is a Bane Trickster. And before I jump into going over all this, this is just my beginning plan of the build. Pretty much everything is subject to change as I try things out and we find new stuff and test things and all that. But I think this is going to give a really good baseline of kind of where to start. And most of it's applicable to like any chaos damage over time trickster setup. But I think Bane in particular is looking like a pretty solid, pretty safe bet to get you off the ground and get you to the end game in a nice, easy fashion. And then one other thing, I didn't have as much time as I usually do to like prepare for recording this, so I'm kind of just winging it. So I might miss some things, but I'm gonna try and get through all the basics and all the stuff that matters, and just kind of swing through path of building here. And then obviously there will be a link to this path of building in the video description, as well as any other links if there's anything else that contains something important. I think it's just the path of building though. So let's get it started. Like I said, it's a trickster. May as well start with that tree. This is my end game tree setup here. We're trying out the new reworked Ghost Dance and Escape Artist, which give you the Ghost Shrouds. You can read up on these if you want to see exactly what they do, but basically you get a lot of mitigation. You end up getting Energy Shield back when you get hit, which kind of is like almost, it's kind of like mitigation, but it doesn't really help you from getting one shot, as far as I know. And then you get some movement speed, you get some evasion, whole bunch of spell dodge, whole bunch of attack speed and cast speed. Attack and cast speed are really important here because we want to play a build that can move around quickly and doesn't spend a lot of time like casting on each pack and all that. So likewise, this is a mind over matter setup. So we've also got Weave the Arcane, which gives you some mana and some mana sustain, and then more attack and cast speed, more mitigation. It's overall really strong node. And then with the last one, I have Patient Reaper, which heals you more damage, some recovery. I was thinking maybe you could drop Patient Reaper for Swift Killer. This would give you more damage overall, but you would lose the recovery bonuses that Patient Reaper gives you. I think initially I'm going to stick to Patient Reaper, but if I feel like I really don't need the life mana ES on killer, any of that stuff, and I just want some more damage, I could drop it to get Swift Killer. But this is my initial setup. And this is the end game setup though. So before end game, it's actually probably going to look something like this. My first normal lab, I will get Swift Killer regardless, just because it's really good early to get a nice boost, and then I'll get rid of it later. And then Cruel Lab would be Weave the Arcane. Merciless Lab would be Patient Reaper. And then it wouldn't be until I finish Uber Lab that I'll drop Swift Killer and go to my finalized planned setup there. So that's all the Ascendancy tidbits. And then the regular tree, it's pretty straightforward. It hasn't changed too much from other than some new nodes, but like Mind Over Matter and Chaos Degen. It's pretty straightforward. You come out of Shadow grabbing all the damage and all that. Life nodes, obviously. Life nodes here. I have on this right side going down to Acrobatics and Phase Acrobatics, but this probably doesn't get grabbed until much, much later. As I'm leveling, it's going to be I pretty much get to here, Fangs of the Viper, and then go up. So anything to the right of Fangs of the Viper, that's being saved till some higher levels. But then we'll go up through here, get the damage, probably go up to Atrophy, get all this damage as well. And really importantly, get Hexmaster because they changed it to apply to curse skills. At least parts of this is to curse skills, not curses. And Bane is tagged as a curse skill, so like this gives it 40% AoE and 80% duration, which is absolutely insane. So we grab that. And then once I grab that, I'm probably rushing over to Mind Over Matter to get the tankiness. From there, we'll start to flesh out the rest of the tree. Dual curse, more damage, more tankiness, all that. And I think the only other thing to really mention on the tree is I'll definitely be running one spreading rot jewel, which is being changed instead of doing its normal debuff thing now. It basically just makes every stack of blight also apply a stack of wither, which is really nice. You don't need like a wither totem or anything like that to. You just need this jewel and you get your wither up because we'll be using blight for single target. And I think one should be plenty. I don't think you need two of these. One should be easily enough to be able to maintain that max wither stack. And the other jewels are just like life and damage, whatever you can get your hands on. I think that covers the whole tree. So move on next. Oh, also kill the bandits. I don't see any reason to help Olira when it's only really going to give a tiny bit of mana regen and the res. We don't need the crit, obviously. But onto the skills. So POB is not currently updated all the way with new skills, so we've kind of got some placeholder stuff. I've put labels. I think these will persist even when I share the link, so you can see that this says like Bane links using level 19 Essence Drain. That's what this Essence Drain is representing. It's Bane. And then I've got my curses linked in here, even though they don't actually do anything. But these are probably the gems for this setup. Swift Affliction might get dropped. There's actually a decent chance Swift Affliction will get dropped for Arcane Surge, since that's getting buffed. I don't know exactly what level. Level 20 Arcane Surge is just too much mana for this skill to keep it up all the time. It might be like somewhere like level 15 or something, Arcane Surge. Because that is really strong, so that's a possibility. Could be in there. Right now I have one linked to the Flame Dash, but it doesn't actually do anything because we have free movement skill from the Ascendancy. But moving on. The next skill is also a kind of placeholder thing. Not as much. I just have Wither linked in with my Vol Blight setup. Just so if you want to see what your damage is with Wither stacks. And I put it by the Blight to show that, you know, Blight's what's giving you the Wither. But this is the Blight setup, I think. And then this one also, you could potentially use the reworked Storm Barrier. I forget what it's called. Infused Channeling, maybe? That reworked support gem. I don't think it would affect the Vol Blight, but only the regular Blight. But it is really strong as well, so it's worth considering. Probably try it out. I'll try it out myself when I get to that point. We'll see. But those are the two main setups, and then the rest of the gems. Cast some damage taken. I threw a Cold Snap in here with the Immortal Call just because I had extra space. Normal shield charge setup. Flame Dash with faster casting. If Arcane Surge doesn't go here, maybe put a Decoy Totem in or something if there's room on the hotbar. And then I still had a full 4-link left over that I didn't know what to do with. So I've thrown in an Essence Drain. Just, why not? More skills to use to even get a bigger boost to single target damage. But really, this could be whatever you want it to be. If I don't end up feeling like using Essence Drain is working very well, I could swap it to something else, but that's the initial plan. And I put it at level 22 since level 22 on the current Essence Drain is almost as strong as the updated level 20. That was the closest I could get. So that's just, it's really a level 20, but I put it at level 22. Probably drop it back down when this gets updated with all the new values. Yeah, so pretty straightforward on the gems. I mean, these MOM builds tend to have a lot of space, right? Because no auras and not too much utility other than the single target setup. And the gear, you will see right away, very conveniently for a league starter, there's a lot of yellow items in here. The only unique I've actually got, besides Spreading Rot, which you can get for free from a quest reward, is a Breath of the Council, and I don't even know if I'll actually be using this, because a rare with Chaos Dot Multi mod thing and some other stats on it is probably going to end up being stronger. But hopefully these are pretty easy to get early on. They might be kind of expensive, but if you do some prophecies, you might be able to get one yourself. It's what, like a 1 in 3 drop chance, so maybe you get lucky. But really, yeah, the weapon's just whatever you can get that gives you the most damage. And if you like the duration and AoE on this one, then you could grab it, but I don't know how much it'll matter. And then the rest of the items are just super straightforward. You'll see not a whole lot going on to them. Usually just life and like 2 resists. This one got a little bit of energy shield. The helmet you want, definitely want some decent energy shield if you can, since that's giving you more evasion from your Ascendancy. But then again, this thing has 1 resist. The body armor only has 1 resist. The gloves have a couple res. These are very, very low-end items. The amulet has rarity on it for some reason. I must have put that there by mistake. Doesn't matter. The resists are capped. Everything's fine. The rings are same deal. Everything here is pretty low tier items. And then we have a Stygian Vise with a chance to gain Onslaught Jewel in it, just to go a little bit quicker. And for the flasks, I'm running a Jade Flask of Reflexes for big evasion, also running a Stibnite for even more evasion. And it puts the blind out. It's just a good flask anyway. We don't really need any uniques. We've got our Life Flask, we've got a Basalt, we've got a Quicksilver. So with these two, the evasion flasks, they end up giving... We go from 4.5k all the way up to 26.7k evasion. And remember, with the Ghost Shrouds, 5% of our evasion is given back to us as energy shield when we get hit. And it comes out to being around, I think, like 1,200 or something ish. 1,300 maybe. And we have a total of just under 1,600 energy shield with this setup. So it works out. We get the big heal, keeps us nice and tanky. And other than that, the only things that I've really thought about, you could drop one of the rings for an Essence Worm if you want more damage. Use the new Malevolence Aura. That'll give you like 20% more damage and some duration. Definitely an option. I might do that myself. Or you could also drop your body armor for a Cosprey's Will, which lets you get an extra curse, which would probably be Temp Chains. I think I skipped the curses, but my current plan is to do Enfeeble and Despair. But if you had one of these, you could add in Temp Chains, and it lets you apply to Hexproof. And you get some energy shield from it anyway, since it's about a 2k evasion armor. It's not terrible, it just doesn't have any life on it. And getting the right colors on it's going to suck real bad, since you would need 4 off colors, I think. You would probably keep Swift Affliction just because it's green. And then Temp Chains would be green. I don't know, you'd probably have to drop Controlled Destruction. But it'd be really tough to get the colors. That's like the big problem. So that one's a little bit rough. But the Essence Worm, definitely, if you get your hands on one, I could see popping that in just for some free deeps. And then everything else went over. And we have the Fakey Curse Stats Jewel, which has Essence Drain deals 94% more damage, since this was the only way I could really fudge in the 47% more per curse on the fake Bane setup. It's just kind of simulating that, but that's just a placeholder until they fix it. And I think that about covers everything. You can see the damages ends up being, right now for Trash Clear, the Bane would be doing about 165,000 DPS, which doesn't sound super high if you compare it to some of the like other big builds we've had recently. But I went back and compared it to like a current Essence Drain build that you would have at this point early league. It's pretty comparable to like Essence Drain. I think it was actually slightly higher than what most current Essence Drains would look like at this point. And you only have to cast the one spell. And you also have all the other ones for single target boosts with the Blight and the Ball Blight and all that. The damage should be plenty to get you through maps, get up to red maps, maybe do some basic bossing like at Ziri and some lower tier Elders. And hopefully all the new content, because I mean, we don't know how tanky that's going to be, but it should be plenty. Because this debuff also lasts, I think, like 6 or 7 seconds. So by the time it fades, it's done over 1 million damage to one mob, which is plenty. And then if you swap the calcs configuration over to like Shaper and configure all that, and you do the Blight plus the Bane plus the Essence Drain, it works out to be, I think, somewhere between 5 and 600,000 Shaper DPS, which again isn't super high, but the goal isn't super high single target. That's actually enough to kill Shaper pretty comfortably, because this character is going to be insanely tanky from everything I'm seeing. It's about 7k or almost 8k total life pool between just the life and the mana. And then we have the energy shield, which heals us when we get hit, back up to more of that. And we have high evasion, and we have about 50% spell dodge, and all sorts of mitigation. The character should be very, very tanky, so. And there's even tankiness you could probably drop for more damage if you need it. Like getting the Essence Worm, for example. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too long, but I'm pretty sure I've covered the entire setup more or less. So again, the POB link will be in the description of the video. If you want to check it out, make some changes yourself. Or if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to get to them as I can. But once the league starts, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you guys have fun in the Synthesis League. And I'll see you out there if you're playing on Hardcore Trade League. Yeah, thanks again for watching. See you next time. Later.